Hello. I thought I'd try on here first to see if it'd work, and it did. Oh, excuse the pile of laundry behind me. I don't know. I was in the laundry room. Now I'm in my own space, and yeah, and then there's laundry. Actually, it's not really laundry. It's my son's. Oh, it's my son's stuff. Can I go like that? Oh, there we go. We'll just go like this so you don't have to look at that. You can look at my cute bear and stuff like that. Oh my goodness. Have you noticed? I love all the videos that come out about with animals talking about anxiety and social, distress, and everybody's going through this stress and going through all of this. I'm just like, you know, yeah, there's stress. I'm going to say, I'm not going to say there's not stress in the world, right? But let's get on here. Let's get on here. So hopefully this goes out to people and you come on. One of the reasons I'm not doing as many lives, I don't get anybody on my lives, even though I have a lot of followers, but still, it's kind of like you do a live and nobody shows up. Maybe I need to schedule the lives and then people will show up. Maybe that'll work. Hey, hi. I'll show up. Um One of the things as I was saying is I understand people like anxiety, mental health, and all of that. And it seems like we're being bombarded with all of this. And then my mind goes. My mind goes. This is what happens. My mind starts to go. Hey, Cynthia. Um, and why does my mind go? Because it just does. Of okay, what did my grandmother do? Like, okay, there's so much to unpack in my head. First of all, a woman crossing Canada in 1919 with 5 children and pregnant, right? And April, May, June, July, August. So she would have been like 4 months pregnant, crossing Canada. Or was it May, June, July, August? Oh, so she was more than that. So she was like 7 months pregnant, crossing with I don't know how many children, a lot of children. And with about 5 or 6 kids crossing with varying in ages, right? And we're caught. And then of course here we are, modern conveniences, everything else. We don't have to, not really, like, there are worries but not as much worries. But now we're having so many people coming in and saying that they're triggered and they're this and they're that. I don't i don't get it. I'm sorry. Maybe because I'm old. Maybe it's my oldness. Well, take it up to oldness. Maybe, I've talked to some really good friends who are psychologists and sociologists, and she said, when one of them who's been doing it for over oh God, I'm gonna say 30 years. When she started her practice, she goes, the books were like, yeah, we had so many disorders. She goes, now she has like her whole row of disorders, of all these types of disorders. And sometimes she goes, we question, are these disorders made up? Did we just make them up? Did we just add on to these disorders? Are we trying to add on to something more than what it is? These are questions. I don't have the answer to this. I don't. But what I've noticed is that, young people, a 15-year-old or even a 7-year-old coming to me and saying, oh, that triggered me. How could that trigger you? You don't even know what the trigger like, mom yelled at me or mom told me to clean my room and that triggered me. How? When somebody's telling you what you should be doing, or you've been asked to do something 3 or 4 times and then all of a sudden their voice raises at you, because as a parent, of course you're going to get angry, because the child's ignoring, and then they say, oh, that's just traumatizing, you're triggering me, that's just too much. I feel that in itself is an issue, or the parent themselves saying, oh, I'm sorry I triggered you. It's like, no, 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 no. I feel like we really have to go back to some old ways, yet and then bring in some modern ways. We got to find a junction with what is going on, because if they think that they're triggered or they're getting upset because somebody's telling them that they have to do something, pick up the garbage, take the garbage out, wash their face, don't leave your dirty plates in the living room, whatever it is, right? And it's just too traumatizing for them and they can't handle it. What are they going to do when the shit is really hitting the fan? And I mean, I'm talking about like not just going out and trying to find work. I'm talking about the craziness of going somewhere and then all of a sudden that thing isn't in the store or that food isn't in the store. Or you're living in a place where it is war torn or there is bombs falling, you know? Like I mean, and there are places in the world definitely, there are places in the world that that is happening at this time. And yeah, okay, yeah, then you have PTSD, then you have triggers, then you have a lot of shit going on because you're on heightened flight all the time. But when you're in a society like living every day today in Calgary or it I think sometimes people can over dramatize things than what it is. That's just my thoughts, my opinions, of what's going on. And I know there's a lot of shit happening in the world. Trust me, I do know. I mean, I look I know what's going on in the news. I see what's going on in the news. But this is where I find that we have a society of young people that and I guess this is part of history too, because now my mind's going, well, Mary, this is history. This is the same Pluto Sages that were back in the revolutionary time in 1779. And these are the same ones that had to go through a lot of changes within their life at that time too. And this is where it's like, you think that right now we have a whole society of young people are saying that. Just think in 1779 and 1780, there was a society like that as well, of young youth that thought they were very privileged, that thought that they didn't have to do things, that common sense was not common sense, right? And they had to learn what common sense. In fact, a book was written during that era, and George Washington had to teach common sense to young people. And I feel like this is happening again. Like we have to go back and teach some of the basics to a lot of young people about what common sense is, what it means to be polite, what it means to pick up your plate, what it means to clean your kitchen or do whatever it is to be a responsible person. And we're in a world that this is triggering to a lot of people. Yet we're heading into a lot of craziness, right? I mean, right now we have the Liberal Party meeting, and it's weird. I was just listening to the PM from Saskatchewan and basically saying that he's backing the Liberal Party. Like he's like, yeah, we got to back them, we got to make sure these tariffs are lifted and blah blah blah, whatever the bullshit was. And I'm just like, whoa. There is something, and there's an undercurrent that is happening in our world right now, in our country, that a lot of Canadians are not ready for this, what is going to be happening. Whether that is we get sold out in some way to a country, to another country. This is where I feel there is a lot that is unfolding, that in this undercurrent, like there's a lot of things going on in the back rooms, and things that we are not privy to know, or to know, I guess, um, that are being discussed and unveiled. Even our PM in um, Alberta was saying something similar. So this it's quite interesting to see. So there's something going on that I feel, when people are saying, "Oh, I'm triggered because I got to pick up the garbage or take out the garbage." Well, whoa, wait till you can't. You're going to be really triggered when you can't use your iPhone. You're going to be really triggered when you can't get onto the um the YouTube page you want to go on to, or things are limited to you, and all of a sudden you don't have access to it. Oh, the West. Oh, West is always sold out. The West is always sold out. Our premiers right now, there is something on the agenda that is happening that possibly they don't have control over, and it all happened with the opening of Parliament with the King, um, and basically handing us over to whatever. I mean, we have so much, and this moon, and I'm just saying, people, this moon activation and Uranus going retrograde tonight, we're going to feel that disruption starting to hit us. And as Uranus heads back to Taurus, this is a whole review of our whole system, right? And how things are dealt with, and how we deal with trade, money, right? And with Mercury, Mercury is commerce, and how that unfolds in our day-to-day life, and how we communicate that in our day-to-day life. This is where we want to be safe and secure, and we want to have things, and it's Virgo, and this Virgo sun really wants to make sure everything is hunky dory, and we're getting all our little ducks in a row, or our little chickens in a row, or whatever you want in a fucking row. um this is where I feel it's not the row that you want. This is not the road. This is not the path. And the underbelly, or the undercurrent of this society that we have created, and we've all created it. We all have created it in some way. If we think of, and I'm even thinking of even how I raised my kids, and I know people, say things, "Oh, you're just too this and to," and I'm like, "Yeah, I probably am." But, a lot of things, if we raised our kids the way our parents raised us, do you think the world would be different? If we were as strict on us as our parents were. Like, I mean, yeah, I had I knew I had to be in at a certain time, because if I was not in at that time, hell was going to be raised, and I knew hell was going to be raised, right? But we're not that way with our children. We're not. Even though a lot of parents are saying, "Well, yeah, I'm strict. I have this." I'm like, "But are you as strict as what your parents were?" Would that make a difference in today's society? Would that have made a difference in today's society? And making sure that your children had those extra responsibilities. Some parents are doing it, definitely, and are doing that, and making sure that their kids have that responsibility and taking that responsibility, right? We age out for a reason. Yeah. And I feel like this is now we have a whole society that, and it's just going to be coming more and more to light, because the Pluto Sagittarius are the ones that are going to be, the ones that are gonna be coming in, and they're the ones that are gonna be going to war. They're the ones who are going to be having to, um, fend a lot for themselves, more so than any other generation. Well, since 1779, um, that really have to create and rebuild a society, rebuild a world, and make sure that structure is sound, and make sure that structure has the boundaries that it needs. And this moon that is coming in, this Pisces moon, and I've listened to some astrologers, and they're like, "Oh, it's Pisces, and it's so lovely." I'm like, did you not notice that Saturn is in there, has come back in, and that the North Node is in there, and that it's an eclipse? It's not a regular Pisces full moon. This isn't a full moon that let's go lay out and let's do. This is a full moon that is being called to action. This is a spiritual action of a moon. This moon is a warfare moon. And a lot of people don't think of that as Pisces. But if you think of spiritual warfare, that's what this moon is getting us ready for. It's getting us ready and preparing us for a spiritual warfare, for us to stand up in truth, to stand up in who we are and not take it lightly. And that means that to stand up and say to whoever, if you stop, with the kids and say, no, 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 that's not what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do today. And if that offends you, I'm sorry. You know, that's just the way it is. And this is the onslaught, I'm going to say onslaught of more of what's going to be revealed. Um I When it comes to Canada as a nation, am I scared? Fuck yeah. I can legitimately say that, right? And where Canada's going and how Canada is. And that's just me talking to friends who are Russian, who have come here from Russia, people who have come here from, communist countries, people who've come here from Vietnam are saying, "Holy shit, this is the same playbook, man." And everybody, all of these people who've been elected are falling into play because there is something there or something being held over their head or their family that we don't know. And this is where revolution happens. This is where people are saying, "No, I'm not going to take this anymore." Right? I'm not going to say it's going to be like the Bolsheviks. I mean, those guys were real fucked up. But this is where I feel like there's a currency, a current that's coming through that is really going to radicalize us. And this is sort of like the beginning. Oh, that's my hold on. I got to pick up my crystal. Drop. Got to continue holding my crystal. This is really going to radicalize us in a way, and we're going to feel the oomph of it on February 20th of next year and March. March is where we're really going to feel that of next year. March is going to be March, April. Yeah, that's going to be where things are going to get extremely explosive. But it's all starting like it started a long time ago. But like little, like the cogs in the wheel are clicking all together, getting them all together, and things are getting to be into a point. Now we're seeing what's happening in France. All the cabbies and buses and everything are all going on strike. They're having huge strikes all through France. I mean, France is always fucked up. I mean, when you got a president and a prime minister, right? And the president has to pick the prime minister, and the prime minister runs the country, and then you've got a prime minister there who wants to, oh, well, we're paying out too much. Now we're going to take away people's holidays. Well, I'm sorry, you're taking away people's holidays. They ain't going to go over too well, especially in France. They like their holidays, just saying. I know we all do, but they want to take away Easter Monday, which has been a holiday for I don't know how long, and then they want to take away another holiday, which was the end of the war for France. France was saved from the Germans and everything from World War II. Um, it's causing a little bit of a ruckus. And then in the UK with their government, it's falling apart like radically. Everything is just being exposed and all the bullshit and everything is coming undone. And then we just saw the biggest parade in China, right? It was huge. And we saw, they call it what they call it, the I don't know, the annex of the devil or whatever they're calling with Putin and Flyboy and the Chinese guy. Tells you all. I only remember Putin. And then who else was there? You had India and you had Turkey there. And then, this is where it's like, okay, it's like if you're not paying attention, you need to pay attention. And a lot of people say, I don't want to pay attention. But you have to pay attention because your light anchored into this world, your energy anchored into this world is going to help to adjust and move the cogs of the wheel in a new direction. You may not think it is, but it is. I'm so connected to this eclipse uncomfortably with a version of myself that's going to come out. Yeah. Oh, definitely. I can see that, Candace. It is one of those vibrations that are coming in. And this eclipse with Uranus, I mean, we got the outer planets now basically fucking retrograde. So this is all our subconscious being reevaluated and realigned with everything that is going on, and this is where we have to be mindful of how that is happening, how that is unfolding. If we are not mindful of this, this means that anything can come in. This is why it's a spiritual warfare. Anything can come in and say, hey, bing, we're going to go over here, or bing, we're going to go over there. It is so important for us to be it's so important for us to be mindful of that thought that comes in, like, well, where did that thought come from? That is not my thought. I'm sending it back, right? Send it back to where it comes. I'm calling in my angels, I'm calling in my guides and my spirit guides and whomever to come in with me with love and light. This is the common sense. And if we're not doing that, if we're going around and saying, I'd rather stay in my bubble, well, I'm sorry, your bubble is going to burst, and it's going to burst in a way that I feel sorry for you. I really do. It's going to burst in a way that you think you're going, yeah, just you think everything's going to be hunky dory. I mean, this fall, this winter is going to be a hell of a time. And I think people are going to feel it when, in the muggle world, we're going to feel it in the muggle world. I mean, they just announced here in Canada, I don't know if you saw, that they want to get rid of all the cars by 2035. That's 10 years. So the vehicle that you just bought or you're driving right now, they want to take it out. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me, right? Karmic using my voice, and it's going to push me out in the open. I don't think people want me to come out of my 12th house. I don't know. I think it would be kind of funny. I just sort of like, Candace just had some of that cocaine wine. That's what Queen Victoria used to drink all the time. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? My God, those Victorians had a hell of a time, right? They had a hell of a time. I'm just thinking, she had liquid cannabis when she had her period. Then she would have sipping on cocaine wine since she was like, I don't know, like 16, 17. So you basically had a stoner for a monarch. Oh my God, that'd be hilarious. I mean, it was. I mean, that's how they functioned. I mean, I guess that's the only way you can function in that era. But I don't know why they took away the cocaine wine. That just sounds like a great time to me. Sorry. Go back. But this is where the frequencies are coming in. This is where the craziness that's coming forth, and the spiritual warfare. And I feel like with Uranus there, like, it's just like, oomph, this huge planet, and it's erratic. I mean, it is the planet that, you know, it's the planet that doesn't give a shit what you think, right? So that's what comes in. So things that you are not wanting to say, you may be saying, right? So you really have to be mindful. That's the thing, is it's like, this is about being mindful, because then we end at the end of the month with a new moon partial solar eclipse in Virgo at 29 degrees, which is the anaretic degree. This is like, whoa, okay, that's explosive before we get really confused and go into Libra. Because then Libra is all about, okay, can we balance this? Can we get this done? What's the justification of it? Oh, do we have to make a decision? Hang on, I got to weigh everything out before I make a decision. So then we're going to go through a little bit of a muddle as we really head into the fall, right? Now, if you've ever been with a Libra who has to make a decision, it is a very painful process. Just saying, right? So there is going to be a lot of reevaluating, especially when we get into the Libra season, right? And so Virgo is trying to get things prepared, trying to do things, and then the eclipses come, and the eclipses are basically a shadow put on something, and you thought you gathered that part of the field, but you didn't notice it. You just didn't see it. It's not revealed to you for another 6 months, right? You know? Rising Virgo, Libra moon, 12th house with Pisces as a descent. Yeah. It's just like, okay, we got to get shit done. I'm a 5th house Scorpio. So I got that Leo energy that comes in with the Scorpio energy combined. It's like, no, we're getting shit done. And if you're not going to get up and do it, we're going to kick your ass to get up and do it. That's what we have to do. This is a call to action for yourself spiritually. This is a call to say, what's your spiritual practice? What does it look like? Are you doing prayers? And the prayers don't have to be religious or anything. Prayers are a spoken word that you do between you and your divine. Are you doing that connection with oneself? Right? That is so important. And this is as we especially as we're heading towards the last part of this year. It is fucked up. This is when shit really starts to get crazy in the world. Everything is getting aligned. If you didn't notice it, with Putin going to China, yeah, sure, he might have met, the Trump dude in Alaska. That was nothing. That was nothing. And the flyover that they had when Putin was there was like basically, "Oh, look what we got." And Putin's like, "Yeah, that's nice." Like, I don't think it didn't really phase him, right? To have a nuclear plane going overhead, right? So there is just so much there. It's been crazy with the unseen since last year. Yeah. And it's just that we're seeing partially of it. I mean, the evil has to tell us what they're doing, and they are. They're setting everything in motion. Last play, the United States going to Venezuela. We're going to see a new government in there. Of course, we're going to see a new government in there. They want control over the oil and the resources that are there and the gold and whatever else that is there. But here's the thing is that are we as a Western society prepared and able to set up enough um well, not warehouses, but enough workshops and everything to be able to go toe to toe with the eastern countries, with China, with Russia, and with India and Turkey and many others who are there as well. Are we there? Because the other thing I think with Trump, with him going into Venezuela, there's Brazil. Brazil's there, right? And so there's a lot of Russian backed countries that are there in South America. So it's the craziness is bonkers. It's always crazy, but it's being more forceful and electric. Yeah, the electricity's coming through. And things are going to be seen too with a lot more. And when you say electrical, I mean a lot more electrical is coming in. So a lot more electrical type of forces and unseen that was unseen is going to be seen more so with it. Um, and whether that's within aliens, UFOs, or whatever coming forth, definitely with that frequencies and with the energies. There's been so much that they've been trying to close off either through earthquakes, eruptions, fires, definitely with fires, drying out our fires so that we have horrible forest fires. um we're seeing that this is all explosive and this is all happening, and for so long we've all been asleep. you know Steve and I, we drove by We're by the university today, and he and the first thing he says, he goes, "Why are they going to university?" It's just like everything that they're taking is gonna be obsolete. Everything is gonna be obsolete. Why are they going you can learn everything easily through Chat GPT, YouTube, or whatever else. I bet you, if you wanna be get a good business, if you wanna learn about business, sign up for the, Economic Ninja courses and, Neil McCoy. 2 guys, self-made millionaire dudes. One was a fireman for so many years. One has worked in business and has been in the Air Force and everything else in England, but have basically broke away and figured it all out, right? One has a beautiful course on the psychology of money and talking about the psychology of money and how to do investments. Like if somebody wants to do business, I would advise them to do that and not go to university. Because university, you're being taught by somebody who's just a token professor in there, right? And that's the same way is, with education, with teaching, right? A lot of teachers that are there, those teachers are they went through the system. A lot of teachers that just came out of university, what kind of system did they just go through? They went through the woke system. So now those woke teachers are coming in to teach your children. And that's sort of like a wake-up call. I can understand if you are a lawyer to understand the difference ins and outs of law and getting into the ins and outs of law, definitely. And a doctor to some degree, definitely. But I think all doctors should take a holistic course in holistic medicine and understanding medicine um as food, as herbs, and really taking that should be a whole semester. That should be a whole year for them that they have to take. If they're taking a biology course or a chemistry course, then they should also take a course in understanding what is the chemistry of mugwort, what is the chemistry of lemon balm, how does lemon balm help you, what's yeah, utilize what God has given us, because God has also given man the function to create and invent and bring it together and have that together. Definitely. Right? And they should all take astrology because they used to take astrology to understand what the different things that are going on in people when they look at somebody's chart. Because not everybody's you might think it's a certain thing, but there might be other things underlying, and you could look at somebody's chart and saying, okay, this is your underlying causes. So medical astrology is absolutely a cool thing to understand and know. You're right, what your rising sign and what your descendant sign is. And there is an opposition, obviously, right? So if it's, for me, it's Cancer, Capricorn. So what does that look like? What does that feel like, kind of thing? So this is where I feel like people have to start looking at these types of things more and more. But again, this is another onslaught of let's take those books off the shelf. Let's not have people read those. Let's don't look at that. Don't look over here. Right. And that's part of what this eclipse is that there's going to be things that are happening that, oh, I didn't realize they were doing that. I know in Alberta, a lot of the school boards, they're wanting to pull certain books. I know our premier has, spoken out against it, but still, it's the idea that they want to do it. And it's more so in Edmonton and that area, because Edmonton and that, I hate to say, is very liberal. It's a very liberal city. You know, um, it's not like Calgary. Definitely not like Calgary. They're very, yeah. Anyways, they are what they are. But this is part of the common sense. This is part of the wake up. And I feel like, especially going into this weekend, you have to be on high alert. You have to be aware of your surroundings, not scared, but be aware of what's going on. Be aware who's around you. I mean, the things that are happening in Ontario and shit is just like, what the fuck? Really? You know? One of the things that, just on a side note, and it's still it still bothers me. This bothers me, is that when I was in Winnipeg a couple weeks ago, that my cab driver could not speak to me at all, at all. His English was so bad, and he didn't understand a word I was saying. Yet he had a full license to drive a cab. That is where it's like, what the hell did I just step into? And I think it's wrong. But then again, this is all part of an agenda or something that's being sold out. And I see all of those guys have been sold out, signing something for whatever reason. Because the thing, at the end, it's like they don't care about the regular Joe. They don't care about the mom and pop store. Their thing is that, yeah, well, we can go off you know, and do whatever because we can create and make a world that we want to create and make. But the thing is, everybody dies and everybody has to be accountable for what they do on this earth. You could believe it or not believe it. It doesn't matter. But I believe it. And that doesn't matter if you're a rich man or a poor man, you die. And when you die and you have to be accountable for what you've done and not done, that's part of the wake up too. That's part of the thing too of saying, yes, this is what we got to do and say things, right? I mean, the thing is that if you want to be with a person who doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks, they should be with my husband. We went to go get our blood done the other day, because one, my kids are like, "Mom, you got to get your blood done, blah, 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 blah." My blood's fine. Um, and so, anyways, I had to get something. I told him to go ahead, dropped him off at the door and parked the car and stuff. And then I get in there. I didn't even have to open the door. I could hear my husband telling people, "Oh, they got to get this," and "Oh, look at that." I think all these politicians need a kick in the ass or whatever he was saying. Just like I'm at the back of the line. I'm just like, God bless him. He's got to say, and I'm just like, nobody else is just another old guy that was there with him. Was like, yep, totally. That's exactly what they need to do. These two, and everybody else is just like, I was just watching everybody else's face. They're just like, oh, okay, oh, can't say anything. you know, oh, too funny, too funny. But that's where we're at right now. And today, with the frequencies coming in, we really got to be kind. Be kind to ourselves. Be kind in the direction that you want to go forth in, and don't just be careful. Talking to you again. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you say to people, because not everybody's going to like what you say. Not everybody's going to like um you know what you are um what you are saying, kind of thing. So hold on here. I did write something out. Did I write something out? Hold on. Oh no. It's not what I want. I want a different. There we go. There we are. So what did I put? We're still in that Mars. Yeah, we're still in the Mars Jupiter square. So it feels like there's a million options, a million choirs, but we got to remember you've got more strength. And things are going to be feeling very messy, very sloppy right now. So there's a lot of sloppiness that is happening at this time. So the magic's going to move us through it. The energies are going to move us through it. It's time to retrieve, especially with Uranus going retrograde. So, which ideas still exist? And this is a time of looking at and reevaluating the changes that you want to make. Are these the changes that you want to make? Is this what you want to do? Now, there is that tension that comes in, and Mars does trine the moon today. So, it brings just enough courage and spark to move things forward. So we know that there's a spark. The universe does have our back. The universe is there. It's helping to guide us. But Uranus, for the last 2 months was direct in Gemini. Now it's going backwards. What bored us? What got us to a point where we're saying no more? We're not doing this anymore. And what suddenly felt out of date? I mean, I certainly felt it. Definitely. And one of the things was me stepping away from the Guru Mama after 20 years. So at the end of February, I'm stepping away. I will still do readings where guided and stuff, but taking me on a whole new adventure, right? And how does that feel? It still feels yes. It still feels like a yes right now. And that yes is turning into, yeah, there's fear, definitely, because the little readings I do here and there, definitely bring in substance in order for me to put gas in the vehicle. Well, it's my son's vehicle. Put gas in the vehicle that, be able to buy pee pads for the dog or food for the dog. It's all about the dog now, or whatever, right? And this is going to be a time that's going to help you to reevaluate. And it's funny because Uranus goes all the way till March, and then March it goes direct. So this is a time that, many of us are getting tired of scrolling. Like, I'm not on social media as much anymore. I'll do a posting here. I love doing my lives. And then do that. And then, yeah, then I toodle off and go work on whatever workbooks that I need to work on right now. And that's where I'm finding, where my energy is. So this is where, and looking at different things that I want to take. So different classes or different information that I want to know about or learn about more, and utilize that information, or however it unfolds. But anyways, I babble and I go on. I waffle. I like that word. I waffle as I'm waffling. But yeah, so be kind to yourself. This moon is going to be crazy. I still don't understand the mental illnesses that are going on, and it boggles my mind. I understand, that yes, there are mental illnesses. I get that. I've lived through them with people in my life, but I feel like there's just a time of responsibility, and the time of responsibility is starting now. And this wake up coming through for people to wake up and start taking that yeah, taking that responsibility with it all. So my loves, that's it. That's all I got to say today. That's it. I've drained my brain. My brain is drained. So I want you guys to have a great day. I really do. I want you to really embrace, take this time with this moon and do some meditations. Take some time with this moon and this energy of this moon, and really connect with, what is my direction? Where do I feel I need to be going? And if you are wanting your chart and you want to get an in-depth reading, a 6-month outlook for you on your chart with the Divine Feminine, definitely get a hold of me and we can go through that, and I can give you a whole write-up on it as well. And even some what to do's and directions of what you want to do. So God bless everybody. Take care. Woo! We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.